If you are watching this video, chances are that you are stuck in a low vibration and not quite aware of how much it is impacting your life. Maybe you're feeling a little bit unmotivated to do anything about your low mood, and that is why I'm here to help you to change that. So I want to tell you a little story. Recently, I found myself in a really low vibrational place and something interesting happened. I, one night, went to bed and I had a really bad nightmare. And this is not normal for me. In the last few years, I haven't really had any nightmares. My dreams have pretty much been just positive, you know, there haven't been any noticeably really scary ones, and this one was a really scary dream. I literally had a dream that I was being chased by demons, and it was so scary. It really shook me up. I realized how much my low mood was actually affecting me, where it was being projected out into my dreams. And so that was the moment where I decided, okay, no more. And then I decided I was going to do what I needed to do to increase my vibration. Now, I don't want you to have to go through what I went through, having nightmares and seeing these scary things to wake you up and to get you to do what you need to do. So that's what I'm hoping this video is going to do for you. In this video, I'm going to give you 7 signs that you are currently in a low vibration, and then I'm going to share with you some things that you can do to increase your vibration. I'm also going to give you a little journaling prompt at the end of this video, which is going to help you to come up with your own ways of increasing your vibration, because I think this is a very personal thing for everyone. Everyone's different, right? Guys, thank you so much for your support. I just wanted to say, if you are not subscribed, please make sure that you do subscribe to the channel if you get any value from this video. I am trying to reach 1,000 subscribers, so your support is much appreciated. And if at any point you have any thoughts that you would like to share, then drop them in the comments, because it's a great way to build community and to share anything that you are inspired to share. You never know, it might help someone. So number 1 is, if you are having nightmares or scary dreams or stressful dreams, you really want to pay attention to how you're feeling in your dream. That's going to tell you a lot, because our dreams are like an instant projection of how we are feeling. When you're in a low vibration, you're having fearful thoughts, and when you are in a high vibration, you are having loving thoughts. And this is a very simple way to think of things, and this is going to be a really good basis for any spiritual work that you're doing, actually. And so our dreams are a really good way to tell us where we are on that scale of vibration. And when we are having really scary dreams, that is a big sign that we are at the more lower end of the scale, because we are thinking these fearful thoughts. Number 2 is that you are not getting any creative downloads or inspiration or ideas. So our natural state is to be creative. We literally were created by the universe, by God. Like it says in the Bible, God created us in his image. And what that means is that the creator created us as creators. And so we are constantly creating. We are creating thoughts. We are creating with our emotions. We are creating things with our body. Our digestive system is creating things. And when we are in a high vibration, we have access to that divine inspiration. And when we are in a low vibration, we have less access to our creative true self. In A Course in Miracles, it says that our true self, our real self, the part of us that is connected to source, to God, is always there. It's like the blue sky. It's the intuitive part of us. And the only reason that we do not have access to this intuitive part of us is because we are identified with the clouds that are blocking the blue sky. And these clouds are like symbols for the thoughts that are created by our ego. Most of us walk around thinking that we are the clouds or the thoughts, instead of realizing that we are actually the blue sky, directly connected with source. And when we become aware of these clouds, like in Buddhism, it is taught to observe your thoughts like clouds passing in the sky. We realize that we are not actually them, and we're actually the consciousness that is observing them, the blue sky. And you see, true inspiration always comes from that still blue sky. And sometimes we get inspiration or ideas and we don't even notice them, because we are so identified with all the thoughts that are clouding our mind. Sometimes we might get an idea, and before we've even acknowledged the idea, we are so consumed by lots of thoughts about why we shouldn't act on the idea or why we're not good enough to act on this idea. And we've already identified with them thoughts before we can even think about taking action on this idea. It's really an unconscious process. And so becoming conscious of these negative thoughts is so imperative to accessing your divine inspiration. Okay, so number 3 is that you are unmotivated or overwhelmed by the thought of tasks. And this is definitely a personal one. This is something that I notice happens to me when I am in a low vibration. The thought of doing things can get so overwhelming, and sometimes I just get so stuck that I end up doing nothing. I'm not making any decisions because it's just all too much. It's like I get into this state of avoidance and avoiding even dealing with it. And then these things start to pile up and there's more and more that needs to be done. And then it just gets, it's like this cycle. And little did I realize at the time that if I had just raised my vibration, then I would know what I needed to do in order to feel better. And so that's exactly what I ended up doing after I had that nightmare. I did raise my vibration, and I'm going to tell you at the end of the video how I did that. But I then, because I'm in this heightened state of awareness, I'm then able to sort out what needs to be done and how I can get to the place where I feel that I'm organized and I know what I'm doing for the rest of the day. And so I was able to feel a lot better. Number 4 is that you are waiting for someone's validation, maybe a text message, for example, to feel good about yourself. So this is a big one, guys. A lot of us are doing this and we don't realize that it's actually coming from a very low vibrational place and very low vibrational negative thoughts about ourselves. So there's a really good book that I love, and it's called A Return to Love by Marianne Williamson. And she talks about how when we are attracted to someone, and this can be romantic or platonic, but especially the romantic ones, when we are attracted to someone, we tend to have more potential for neurosis, meaning that we have more potential to go into depressive states, into anxious states. And I believe that it's because we are usually pedestaling the person that we're attracted to. We may be so attracted to them, especially the more attracted to them we are. It's usually because we are putting them above ourselves in some aspects. Maybe we are seeing something about them that we think is so amazing because we believe that we are lacking in that thing in some way. And this can put us in a really low vibrational states because we are not only putting ourselves down, because we are telling ourselves that there is something that we lack and that we need from the other person. We can get into these cycles where we feel like we need their attention to just feel good about ourselves. And if we were in a higher vibrational state, we would not be doing this. We would already be feeling good about ourselves because we are connected with that divine source of love. And so if you notice yourself anxiously waiting for someone's text message or approval in some way, and maybe you are noticing that you are feeling low at the thought of them not liking you or not being interested in you, this is a sign that you have slipped into a fearful vibration. By the way, I just want to say that this is completely normal. And just like everything else on this list, these are completely normal things for us to experience as human beings. But becoming aware of these patterns is what is going to help us to evolve into a spiritually evolved species. And when we have evolved into that higher vibrational species, we will absolutely have higher self-esteem, and we will not be reaching for the attention or the validation from others as a source of our self-esteem. We will be generating it from within. When we are in this high vibrational state, we know that we are already good. We already know that we are so loved, infinitely loved. We are a source of love. And so instead of trying to get that love from the external sources, we actually end up giving it ourselves. This is such a fulfilling and beautiful state to be in. And not only is it good for ourselves, but we are like a gift to other people when we allow ourselves to be in that state, because we also then teach them to be in that state just from acting from this place. It is our ego that makes us feel either valued or not valued based on the clothes that we own, the house that we have, the car that we have, how beautiful we are, how lovely our hair is, the number in our bank account. Like, the list goes on of what the ego identifies itself with and projects onto others to be of value. But the true part of us, the part of us that is connected to the divine, knows that it is of value just by being alive. And it doesn't need things, it doesn't need external validation to know that and to love itself, because it is just pure love. And so when we are in this state and we act from this state, we are literally a gift to the rest of the species just by being alive. Just imagine, guys, a world where we all accepted each other just for being a soul on this earth, and we treated each other with love, and things would just be so different. We didn't feel like we needed to have the latest brand new Tesla, or we didn't feel like, it's not to say that it's bad to have those things, but it's no longer a source of our self-esteem. We know that we are good and loved and worthy of love, whether we have those things or not. And when we actually act from that place, we start to teach others that they can feel the same, and they end up feeling a lot more relaxed in our presence. Number 5 is that you are getting stuck or you're procrastinating because you're doubting yourself. If you're noticing that you are not able to move forward with a project, or you keep putting off a project, and you are also caught up in thoughts that you are not good enough, that are rooted in fear, and these thoughts are literally controlling you. You're allowing these thoughts to be the reason that you're not going to do this thing. Sometimes we actually get stuck or we start procrastinating because we genuinely don't want to do something, and that is not what I'm talking about here. I just want to make that very clear. That is a different situation and requires a different way to deal with it. Whereas if we are stuck or we are procrastinating because we are doubting ourselves, what's happening is we are having all of these thoughts. Maybe we've set out to do a project. Like, for example, maybe you want to start a YouTube channel, and you are having all these thoughts. When you think about doing the first step to creating your YouTube channel, maybe you all of these clouds that we were talking about earlier start to appear. Now, that original inspiration came from your higher self. It's something that you really desire, something that you really want to do, and it's coming from your heart. But then all of a sudden, these thoughts are being created. So I always think of it like, okay, your intuition is very clear. It hasn't got any emotion. But what happens is, as soon as we get an idea or an inspiration, then the ego tends to create lots of stories around it. And sometimes we don't even settle into that clear intuition, or we don't notice how it was such a clear intuitive impulse, because straight away we are flooded with all of these emotional egoic thoughts, and they can be very destructive and dysfunctional, almost pulling us in the opposite direction of what our intuition wanted us to do. The ego is trying to keep us safe at the end of the day, so it's going to be bringing up lots of thoughts, maybe like, I am not good enough to do this. What are people going to think if I put myself on YouTube? What are people going to think of me if I'm talking about these spiritual concepts? You know, I'm not ready for this, I'm not good enough for this. All of these stories that can be very destructive and stop us from following that original inspiration. And becoming aware of these thoughts, like I said before, is going to be the best way to not align with them. When we are unaware of them and we have completely allowed them to choose what we're going to do next. So for example, if we are having these thoughts like, I'm not good enough, and we're feeling all this anxiety around the thought of doing this thing, then we just decide not to do it. What we have done there is we've unconsciously aligned with that belief of, I am not good enough, or this is not going to work out for me, whatever it is. And so that is the experience that is going to be reflected back to us. This is not going to work out for me. Okay, well, I've already agreed with that belief, and so therefore, in my experience, it hasn't worked out for me. That's what I chose. Whereas if you are aware of these thoughts, these negative, egoic thoughts that are being created, you can then choose, hang on a second, I'm having this thought that I'm not good enough. Do I want to align with this? The best thing you can do is question thoughts, honestly, and then ask yourself, do I actually want to believe this? Do I want to align with this? And if the answer is no, then you can do the opposite of what the thought is saying to you. For example, if the thought is saying, this is never going to work out, it's like, okay, actually, I choose to believe that it is going to work out, and then align with the action that is corresponding to that thought, if that makes sense. Okay, number 6 is that you are anxious when you are speaking to others. You are anxious about how you came across. Maybe you're overthinking afterwards when you've had an interaction with someone about how you came across when you were having a conversation with them. This is a sign that you are having negative thoughts about yourself. You're not centered in a place of divine trust and clarity. And what happens is we can, again, become aware of these thoughts, and just becoming aware of negative thoughts like this is enough to raise our vibration, by the way. So our vibration is like a scale. It's not just either, okay, you're in a low vibration or you're in a high vibration. It can be kind of oscillating and changing throughout the day. Maybe you'll have like a low vibrational thought, but the quicker we catch these and we become aware of them, the quicker we can stop their hold over us. And when we are unaware of a low vibrational thought, that's when we tend to spiral down and more thoughts are created because we are so unaware. It becomes like a loop. So I remember Eckhart Tolle saying that a thought creates an emotion, and then the emotion creates a thought. It's like a loop that keeps going round. And the way that we stop this loop is by becoming aware of the emotion or the thought, and then our focus is no longer going around in a loop. It stays with the thought so that no more can be created. So number 7 is that you are physically exhausted or drained. And obviously sometimes we feel physically exhausted because we just need rest and we have been working so hard. But let's say that you have rested a lot, you have slept a lot, and you're still feeling really exhausted and drained. This is a sign that you are in a low vibration and you are thinking a lot of negative thoughts, or maybe you are conflicted in your mind, and so your mind is going round and round trying to think or figure something out to make you feel better in some way. And this is all happening unconsciously. In Dr. Joe Dispenza's book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, he talks about how thoughts are energy. And when we have lots of unconscious, stressful thoughts, that is a lot of energy that is being used that we could be using for other things, like resting our body, or like for our immune system, for healing. All these things that we could be using this energy for is being used up on our unconscious thinking, and usually that is quite negative and stressful. And so you can imagine how exhausted this can actually make us feel. And that's why I think meditation is so important, just a few minutes a day to really start to practice just relax in your mind. Like I said before, becoming aware of your thoughts. You're not trying to get rid of your thoughts, but just by becoming aware of your thoughts, you are going to start to calm them down and to raise your vibration. The other day I was feeling really exhausted and drained, and this is around the same time that I was in this low vibration, and I sat down and I asked myself, and this might sound a little bit weird to some people, but this is a really good technique that you can do. I asked myself, why am I feeling so exhausted? I actually said to myself, right, I want to speak to this part of myself that is feeling exhausted. And I did. I said, what is it that is making you feel so exhausted? And the answer I got was that I was conflicted in my brain. There was two things that I really wanted to do, and I wasn't sure which path was the right one to take. And so unconsciously, my brain was trying to work this out, and it was getting stressed about it. It was getting overwhelmed about it. And so that's when I realized, okay, I actually need to sit down and consciously work on this, understand the needs behind both paths, see if there's any other paths I could creatively think of that could maybe be a better solution. And this really helped me to feel like release this exhaustion that that was created from all of this overthinking. Okay, so if you resonate with any of these points, please do let me know in the comments. I also just want to say thank you so much for your comments and your support. I really do appreciate your guys' support. It helps the channel so much. So yeah, thank you so much. Okay, so now I'm going to give you a list of things that I love to do to raise my vibration, and allow this list to really give you inspiration for things that you could do to raise your vibration. And then let us know in the comments what you come up with, or things that you already know that you love to do, because this could really, really help someone else that is watching. Stand next to a tree and imagine that I am breathing in its energy. Watch near-death experience videos. Dance. Speak to the universe, God, my higher self. And in brackets, I put pray. Listen to my higher self, either through meditation or through writing myself letters as if I am my higher self, which I am, obviously. 3 rounds of breath work, and I usually do Wim Hof style of breath work, but there are other styles as well, but that one's amazing. 20 minutes on the Stairmaster or other cardio. Cooking and eating a healthy meal. Playing an instrument intuitively. Imagine sending light from my heart to others. Writing down affirmations that I actually believe. Going on dog walks with friends and family. Speaking with my best friend, telling them how I feel. Sending my emotions compassion. Watching my thoughts. And I just thought of a couple more. Watching spiritual podcasts and reading spiritual books is such a great way for me to soothe my mind. And as promised, let me just give you that little journaling prompt that's going to help you to come up with some ways to raise your vibration. The journaling prompt is, what are 5 things that my child self used to love to do to have fun and play? And remember, guys, in any moment, you have the power to shift what you are focusing on, what you are thinking about. And so you have the power to change how you feel. And that is it for today's video. Peace, namaste, have a beautiful day.